Hey, my great pleasure to have one of the great healing-minded attorneys and family mediators with me, Chris Potts. Thanks for being here, Chris.
My pleasure, Charlie.
I have a little piece that I'd like Chris to chime in about that I call cigarettes, seatbelts, and separations. Cigarettes, when I was growing up, you're a little bit younger than I am, but maybe you remember the time people just used to go into each other's homes and light up cigarettes.
Absolutely.
We smoked on planes, we smoked in hospital rooms, we smoked everywhere. And seatbelts, we thought those were, my dad, who was otherwise a safety nut, used to cut them off or stuff them in seats. He said they were communist plotters. Well, today if you light up a cigarette, we've had a cultural shift about that. We don't really have a right to pollute people's lives, and we don't have a right to drive our kids around. By the way, as far as seatbelts goes, I grew up on a farm, we would ride in the back of the neighbor's pickup truck and ask him to drive fast so we could bounce around. Well, if you did this today, they'd haul you away, right?
Our ideas of safety have changed dramatically.
They've changed, and what I'm hoping for, and I wonder what you think about this, is that we would soon have a day when the idea would be just as abhorrent that we can have lousy separations and lousy divorces, that we have no more right to ruin children's childhood by having a horrible relationship with our co-parent. If a marriage has come to an end, we have a responsibility, in fact, to make sure that that child's already enormous losses from that are minimized and that we're as humane and cooperative as possible. What do you think?
Well, I couldn't agree more, Charlie, and I do think that it's a matter of getting the public educated as to those issues. Just as cigarettes and lack of seat belts were the norm back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, today people grow up with the idea that separation, marriage, the dissolution of marriage is an adversarial and a conflictual process. And that's an idea that's been handed down for too long. It's a misconception, in my opinion, and it's damaging not only to the family, but it's obviously damaging to the children. They're the ones who are most likely to suffer as a result of a bad divorce or a bad separation.
And we're not saying that these people, parents are bad people, but they've been misled about this. But with the same way we used to be misled that it was just fine to go into somebody's hospital room and 6 of us light up cigarettes and nearly kill the guy. But
when I was a youngster, my father brought home a 1966 Plymouth Barracuda Fastback. Neat black car. The back end of that car was all glass. It was a fastback. And guess who the youngest child was in the family? Me. There were 2 seats in the front, 2 seats in the back for my brother and sister, and guess who laid in the back looking up? I was watching trees and telephone poles go by, so that was the norm back then.
That was the norm. Today, Britney Spears was, the people thought she'd be turned in as a child abuser because she drove for like 2 blocks or something with her kid on her lap or something. That may be overdoing it, but that's the kind of shift, and I hope we're reaching a tipping point where we're doing a better job. People like Chris being among those heroes who are saying to people it doesn't have to be like this, and if we care about our children, which we know parents do, it can't be like this. We have some pages on the website where we collect a little bit of the research showing that of all the research that's been done, it all comes to the same conclusion: conflict between parents, whether or not those parents are together, is the worst poison you can put in a child's life. If I'm saying to my daughter, you're the most wonderful daughter in the world, it's just that your mother's an idiot, I am doing a horrible disservice. And unfortunately, we have people who, by words and deeds and chilly exchanges of children, are sending that message. And we've got to get away from that. And our profession needs to get away from that, too.
You know, you make a good point, Charlie. The bottom line here is it's the profession's responsibility to educate the people. So many people come in and they have this mindset about defeating the other side, and the best way to get custody or get more parenting time is to suggest to a judge or a caseworker that I'm the better parent, not because I can do things that are in the child's best interest, but because the other parent is bad because of this, this, or this, and they'll give examples of how terrible this other parent is.
And one other thing I would add, Chris, and I wonder what you think about, is just as it should be, I think, socially unacceptable to run down to my child's other parent, it should be equally unacceptable, maybe even worse, for me as an outsider to come into this fractured family, and either because I'm a friend who claims to care about the people, or I'm a grandparent, or I'm a new person who's dating one of these people, or I'm an attorney. And as a third party, I come in and now I'm also a voice for, yeah, let's ratchet up this conflict. Let's see how many horrible things we can think of about this other parent, and let's see how many of those messages we can get in front of their children.
Again, it's incumbent upon the profession to begin to refocus the energy and the attention of the people on positives rather than trying to load up on negatives. And that's where it falls on our profession. Not only the attorneys, but the judges. You know, if the judges make a bigger point out of saying, I'm interested in hearing the positives here, and I'm not interested in how many negatives you've added up over the course of the last 6 months, then that starts to provide positive feedback to the people, too.
Right. And I'm so glad to hear your ideas about how we need to emphasize the need for the positives to be shared. One of the most important and I think transformative exercises on the Up to Parents website ask parents to make a list of 10 compliments about their children's other parent and good memories that they'll be sharing with the kids. And when in mediation we read these, the parents are crying and they say, you would say those things to the kids? And they said, since I've done this work, I've resolved this is the only kind of thing I will say to the kids.
If the profession and the court system would begin to reward the parents for the positives that they can talk about as far as parenting skills, that would be a big step in the right direction.
And supporting those kids' relationship with the other parent and the kid's good opinion of that other parent.
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
Thanks so much,
Well,
Greg.
thank you very much, Charlie. I appreciate it.